When Lily chose the party over me that night, something inside me broke. It wasn't just about one missed dinner or one careless choice. It was the moment I realized where I stood in her priorities. We'd been together for 3 years, and I'd planned a quiet evening to celebrate her promotion. I'd made dinner, bought her favorite wine, and even written a small note telling her how proud I was. But when she called, her voice was full of laughter and music. "I can't make it tonight, Noah," she said. "The team threw me a surprise party. You understand, right?" I paused for a moment, the sound of glasses clinking in the background cutting through the silence. "Sure," I said finally. "Have fun." That was the last night I waited for her. When she came home past midnight, still in her work dress and smelling of champagne, I was already gone. I'd packed my bag, left the apartment keys on the table, and written one last note, *, you didn't lose me tonight. You gave me away. *. The next few months were a blur. I moved to another city, found a new job, and tried to rebuild my life piece by piece. The nights were hardest. I'd catch myself reaching for my phone, wanting to text her, wanting to ask why wasn't I enough. But I never did. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. Years passed. I built a stable career, bought a small house, and even learned to cook properly, something Lily always used to tease me about. I didn't date much, not because I was bitter, but because I'd grown cautious. I didn't want another almost love, another half-hearted connection. Then one afternoon, 5 years later, fate decided to test me. I was attending a business conference at a downtown hotel. I was giving a presentation on a project I'd been leading for months. After my talk, I was chatting with colleagues when I heard a voice, familiar, melodic, and hauntingly unchanged. I turned, and there she was. Lily. She looked different, more refined, maybe a bit tired around the eyes, but still unmistakably her. Our eyes met, and for a moment, the noise of the room disappeared. She hesitated, then walked over. "Noah," she said softly, almost unsure. "It's been a while." I smiled politely. 5 years, to be exact. She laughed awkwardly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "You look good. Successful." "I could say the same," I replied, though I noticed the ring missing from her finger. She caught me looking and gave a small, sad smile. "I was engaged," she said quietly. "Didn't work out." There was a pause before she asked, "Do you ever think about us?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger or longing. Just peace. "Sometimes," I admitted. "But mostly, I think about who I became after." Her eyes softened. "I never stopped regretting that night," she said. "I thought the party was important. Networking, appearances. But when I came home and saw your note, I realized I'd lost the only person who truly cared about me." I nodded slowly. "You didn't lose me that night, Lily. You just made it clear I was never something you'd fight to keep." Her eyes glistened. "You were right to leave." We talked for a while longer, about work, about life, about how different things had turned out. She'd switched careers, was now working in event planning, and said she often thought of that night as the biggest mistake of her life. When the conference ended, she asked, "Would you like to grab coffee sometime? Just to catch up?" I smiled gently. "Lily, I wish you well. But some chapters close for a reason." She looked down, nodding. "I understand." As I walked away, I felt lighter. The ghosts that had haunted me for years seemed to fade with every step. That night, I sat on my balcony watching the sunset and thought about how sometimes, losing someone is the only way to find yourself again. 5 years ago, I was heartbroken when she chose the party over me. But now, I understood the truth. She didn't just choose a party. She chose her comfort, her crowd, her image. I chose myself. And in the end, that made all the difference.